you to know that what's inside of you is like grandmama's greens. So don't give up. Your time is coming.
Welcome to the very first episode of Matthew 77 Podcast, a place where we have conversations with purpose, where truth reigns, not just what feels good. I am Samuel.
I'm Armani.
And I'm Dom.
And we are the Matthew 77 Podcast team.
Yes, sir.
All right, so we got a couple things we want to get into today. Really, we just want to talk about what Matthew 77 is. And I want to let it be known that this is more than a podcast. This is kingdom work. So let's get into why we created it. Well, I should say, why I called you guys. We created the podcast because we wanted a safe space where we can allow, not only us, but our viewers to get deep and to go to a place they never went to before. So we are going to answer unanswered questions, unasked, things that you were always scared to talk about, things that were in your mental that you felt like, I can't feel like this, or I'm ashamed that I feel like this. And we are going to create a space where you feel invited to show your true self and not feel like nobody's coming at you or condemning you or judging you for how you feel. So the sole purpose of this podcast is to really create a safe space for one, to release spiritual truths. We want to tell, people that don't know and, talk to people that already do know about certain truths that impact not only yourself, but families. It's a lot of spiritual truths that people, once they hear them, it changes the dynamic of their whole life. Yeah. So it's like, I figured out that I can't do this no more, but my whole family does this. And how do I tell them that I'm not participating no more? Yeah. And, they start Xing you out when you tell them, this is what I'm doing now.
Right. You become the black sheep.
Right. And it's a hard place to be in.
It is.
It's a hard place to be in, and it makes you, go back on what you already learned and know to be truth. Because, these are people that raised me. Right. These are people I was raised with. So it's like, if they telling me like this is good, and it's good, but we can't let emotion trump
Truth.
We can't let emotion trump truth. So we are gonna, get into it, and it's gonna hurt, it's gonna sting, but we love you, and we wouldn't be here if we didn't love you. We wouldn't be here if we didn't love one another. So if you ever feel like you're judged or targeted or somebody's coming for you, I'm going to challenge you to step outside yourself. You ain't that deep, and we ain't coming for you like that. So sometimes the truth hurts. Yeah. So I got a couple questions I got lined up because I need everybody to know who we are. I need them to understand us. So, AK, Armani.
What's up?
I want to ask you, how did you grow up? Like, did you grow up in a home that, God was heavily, enforced? Or, is it something that you had to figure out for yourself?
Okay.
What was the environment you grew up in?
So the environment that I grew up in was God was heavily enforced by one parent, but then the other parent was like, they wasn't against God, but their actions were like, they believed in God, stuff like that, but certain things that they did would have to make the other parent, enforce God even more heavily, like casting out demons and speaking to demons and praying over me and my brother, teaching us how to pray, teaching us not to be afraid of demons and stuff like that. But the way that I also grew up was more so like God being more of, how do I put this? Like, the traditional way of thinking of a God. You just go to God about your problems. That'd be it. Like, relationship wasn't really taught.
All right, you don't have to do nothing.
Right.
Like, we just ask.
Right.
Yeah. And he just fix everything.
Exactly.
magically. Yeah.
Or it's more so like you can't really be like you had to. Everything was like the church I grew up in was everything like Bible based, and if it wasn't like this, it's like it's a certain way to do everything. You can't just go to God how you are and like just talk to Him and build a relationship and stuff like that.
And that's the important thing.
Right. It was more so like He's the ruler. That's it. If you do this, you're going to hell. Like.
Right.
That was it. It was
right.
No in between.
And it's scary because when people preach stuff like that, it's like, well, we all going to hell.
Right.
Like, I didn't talk to certain people that, you know, they say things like, you know, God was heavily enforced and we knew right from wrong. But, you know, when we came home, the pastor didn't see what Daddy was doing. Mm-hmm. Like, he wasn't walking that walk like he was supposed to.
But
so
the
if I go to
pastor
church,
either, so
the pastor wasn't either. So it's like when I go to church and they tell me I'm going to hell if I do this, and I go home and all I see is hell, it make you run away. So that's why I asked the question of how you grew up, and you know, was it something that was like forced upon you? Some people they say it was forced on them, and it make them run away. But you know, if anything was going to be forced on you, God is probably the best thing that could ever be.
Right.
Not probably, He is the best thing that could be forced on you. So. Yeah, you don't turn away from nothing else. People force drugs on you. You don't say no to drugs. It's like, they forced it on me and I just took it. Like, why you just take God? So, my second question for you is, when did you start taking your relationship with God seriously?
I started really taking my relationship with God seriously and actually, like, getting to know Him instead of just making sure, like, oh, I got to be perfect and this is how God wants me to be. I say, like, when I really started experiencing, like, feeling anxiety and stuff like that, like, it was just a time where I was just tired of feeling it. And I was just crying out to God about it, just telling God, like, I'm tired of being afraid. I'm tired of living like this. I'm tired of waking up every day and not feeling normal. Like, I'm worried about something literally every second. I go to bed worrying. I wake up worrying. And, like, my pastor was saying stuff like, life is to be enjoyed and not endured. And it's a lot of us just walking around enduring life. And that's not how God set us to be.
That's good.
So then that's when, like, once I heard him say that, that was just like, okay, how does God want my life to be? And that's when I just started crying out to him about it. And once I, like, received my healing, and ever since then, and I know when me and God got, it just gets better each day.
Wow.
That's awesome.
That is.
That's awesome.
It's a beautiful thing.
It is.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Golly, I like that. Like, people walking around enduring, not enjoying.
He say that all the time.
Yeah, that's the problem with we've turned what God wanted to be relationship into religion. And so religion says you must walk with your posture this way, and you must only look to the right on Wednesday, and you can only eat fish at 6:00. And if you don't do that, then you might as well throw it all away. God don't hear you. God don't see you. And that is not at all an appealing lifestyle to anyone.
Right.
You know, we talked about being scared of going to hell. So I dare say that 70% of people who get saved do it out of fear. I heard it this way. They wanted fire insurance, right? It's like the pastor say this, and that is going to take you to hell. And if I'm sitting in my seat and you just said that, I'm going, well, I don't know about you. I ain't
Right.
Let's
go ahead. The doors of the church are open. You might as well.
Go to hell.
Right.
Let me get some fire insurance. So you say I got to do what? Oh, okay, I'll do that. Yeah, I confess with my. I believe that. Oh, absolutely. I'm saved.
Bet.
I'm saying,
My man, you know what I'm saying? And so people getting saved that way, we get them to that point because hell is real. And yes, if you do not, live righteous, if your life does not please God, then when it's all said and done, that's where you'll spend eternity. However, going back to, like, I like this, relationship over religion. Relationship says that if I seek God, what he'll do is he'll cause a change in me to where it's not so rigid that I gotta do this and do that and don't do this.
Right.
But just simply because I'm so close to him and I love him, he gives me the ability to just live righteously. And now the things that I do, I can enjoy it and I don't have to worry about, is this wrong?
Right.
Should I not be doing this? Is anybody watching me? You know what I'm saying? That takes away from, because people get stranded there. Okay, I came to Christ. I came to the altar. I said this prayer. I got my fire insurance, right? But now what?
Right.
And it's like you get slapped with this list of rules, like, and especially in 2022, and especially with young people,
Right.
you're not converting anybody with that strategy. So
Oh, that was good. What you
That
said.
is good.
Because, like, and then it leads us to projecting onto others and being the judger of their actions. And that's not what we were put on earth to do. To tell somebody that, okay, well, I'm saved, and I know you're not supposed to do this and not supposed to do that. And I see you doing this and doing that, so you going to hell. It's like, who are you
Right.
to tell me
We're
that?
supposed to be guides.
Right.
And the best way to be a guide is, by example. The best tour guides go on the tour with you.
Right.
They don't just point and tell you hey, you want to go down through the woods.
Right.
And, I mean, just like we just went to Best
Right.
Buy. And
I was
it's like,
that just came to my head.
like the best tour guides go with you. And we have to be willing to go with,
The same way how God does with us. Like, when we're going through stuff, he don't just sit way up high and be like, all right, you got to figure it all out by yourself. He is literally with us.
right, the whole time, whether we realize it or not. And that's, man, relationship.
Man,
relationship.
following Christ is a cheat code, man.
It really is.
I think it was Pastor Breeder that told us, and I never looked at it this way, but when we ask God to work through us, it's like from that moment, it's like we're not doing nothing. He just using us, and our willingness is it. He's doing the work. It's like we're not even doing the work. We can feel like we're doing the work, but it's like God doing everything. And it's a cheat code. It is an absolute cheat code. Dominic, I knew how you grew up. But I'm gonna ask you anyway because nobody else knew how you grew up.
Right.
So how did you grow up, man? Like,
Yeah. So I like to say it this way. I consider myself to be truly blessed because I was raised on truth. I was raised on godly principles, but it went beyond that. I was, I've been up under my dad, up under Bishop, up under my grandfather, my whole life. And then everybody in that, fellowship of Tri-Stone, I've been poured into by so many people. So it took it just beyond, we go to church on Sunday and on Wednesday and Bible school on Saturday. And, it actually created in me a desire to want those things and to want it on a more mature level. Like, I never wanted to go to children's Bible school. I wanted to be in the sanctuary and hear what they was hearing.
I remember Tri-Stone Children. I remember that.
Yeah, like I didn't want to go do the kiddie lesson on let's talk about how
right.
Jesus.
I want to know about the blood.
like I'm sitting here and I'm listening to what he talking about, and then we getting exited out to go do this. And it's not that I'm above that,
right?
And it's not that I got all that figured out. I know how that. It's not that. It's just I was always drawn to the deeper things because that's what I was being taught.
Right.
And that's what I was being poured into. Now, I was a child. Was we tired of being in church? Duh.
Yeah.
Like, was we hungry? Duh. Was we bored? Duh. Like, was we coming up with ways to, them little paper games you used to play, MASH and, making paper airplanes.
I was in church.
And absolutely. Like, me and my cousin Josh, like, that's what? Who you gonna marry? Where you gonna live at? Like, and quietly passing them so you don't get that side eye.
Oh my God! You don't get the side eye from the pulpit.
I got those a couple times.
I ain't gonna lie, it hurt. His
and
thing.
That sounds
and the
scary.
pew was like right because he was in the praise team. Dad was in the praise team, so the pews was right there where the praise team at. Like, and I mean the pulpit is right there too. So don't think that you getting away with nothing. But yeah, that's how I grew up. A solid foundation in the word, and plenty people that was pouring into me left and right. So that even more so, because I know what your second question is about to be, so I'm just gonna segue into it.
All right, go on, segue into it then.
That for me really eliminated any of the excuses that I could try and come up with, or it really always left that place where I was gonna feel convicted when I tried to fit in and do other stuff that other people was doing, and turn away or try to run away from what I was always taught. There's no excuse. You can't have all these people pouring all this knowledge and wisdom and truth and revelation, because, you know, our parents understood certain things certain ways when they was growing up. But then they would get revelation and they would get truth, and then they would implement it in our lives. My dad and them, they celebrated Christmas growing up. Then they learned about the truth. Then those things changed so, you know, again, I just didn't have no excuse. So in my time where I was trying to do other stuff and I was trying to fit in, because it's not comfortable to stand out. Mm-hmm. It's not comfortable to be different. It's not cool to, well, I believe this, and this is my faith. Like, especially not so young and you in school. I'm not going to school and people are saying praise the Lord when they see me every day. Like, that's not how they greet me. They're not saying, how you doing, young man of God? Like, that's not what they're doing.
You the weird kid.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? I will never forget this. One of my homies, like, set up this fake intervention for me. And I came to school in the lunchroom, and he had most of the girls from our class over there, and a few other friends, and so they basically start questioning me like, how come you don't be hugging the girls, and how come you don't? Yes, like, and it was one of the weirdest things ever. So, you know, the girls was hugging me and basically like initiating my popularity, because I mean, I was a certain way.
That's deep.
That is.
Like, I hope people don't miss that, because like, you was walking so straight and so narrow at that age that even the kid was like, we gotta pull him in. Like, we see him, we gotta pull him in, because
that's how the
moving
enemy
different.
work. That's how the enemy work. The enemy would never sit aside and be like, oh, I'm just gonna let him keep getting poured into and just let him go ahead and become a spiritual giant. Do your thing, brother. No, sir. Come here.
In the midst where you can be turned so easy. Mm-hmm. Like,
when you
high
a
school
kid.
and that, man.
What? I didn't know nothing about no porn or none of that. Where was I gonna find it at home? Under the Bibles?
Right.
So I went to school and started seeing that, and I didn't know what I was looking at. Mm-hmm. So there was an embarrassment there, because everybody looking like, you don't know what this is? You don't know what that is? You don't talk like this? You ain't never heard of this?
Right.
You ain't seen this movie?
Right. You ain't seen it?
Like, it was that. So as far as, because even with all of that, you know, being that young and being immature, I didn't start taking things seriously. Mm-hmm. And, you know, at that time, I mean, I realize it now, how blessed I was and being poor. I didn't know that then, right? So for me, for many years, it was, this just what I was taught. Mm-hmm. You know, I believe this is what I was taught, so it must be true. It must be right.
Right.
So I'll say, being 29, it wasn't until within recent years, that I really started taking it seriously, where it became, I needed to know things for myself. Where in that time where I fake wanted to be on the opposite side of town from the family and do my own thing and dibble and dabble in this and that, just to come back to the realization that I don't want none of this, no way. Mm. Like, I this is not what fulfills me. This don't interest me. So that, because of those experiences, that's really how I started experiencing God for myself. Making it out of situations and being like, whew, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, overcoming stuff.
Oh my gosh. You saying that, man, I remember when I was in high school and it'd be parties, and, you know, you go to them parties, and at least it was like this for me. I would go to a party and nothing to pop off. Like, it's a normal night. Like, you know, the dancing, all that, you know, you might get a bite to eat, then you go home. The normal night. It's a night where I don't go and I stay at the crib. It's like, oh man, you should have been out tonight. They was shooting, and it's like,
but that's how we thought.
I never knew. Oh God, you was keeping me, and so much so, you was keeping me so much so that I didn't even realize that me even being in the car with yada yada
Stop
was.
them.
I was covering other people like, cause the favor. I mean, you connected to me, so
And here I am.
we all
at
protected
home.
tonight.
Yeah. And here I am at home mad because mom wouldn't give me a ride, or I could only get a ride one way, and I wouldn't try and catch the bus. And like,
Oh man, yada yada was fighting. Yada, it's like, man, dang, I missed everything tonight. Like, no, you was protected from everything tonight. You weren't supposed to be there.
right.
Everybody told you the glitz and glamours of that night, but ain't nobody tell you, you know, so many kids got arrested. Mama had to go down to the jail and pick them up.
Yep.
Like, ain't nobody say that part.
And that's how blind and immature we be, not realizing, like, man, that is how enticing and dangerous the world is. Listen to that, man. They was fighting, they was shooting. So and so got into it.
Why's that fun?
Right.
Yeah. Like, hey, we caught so that they was back there getting it in, like, and we all for real. Hey, that was
You lying?
yeah, like, oh, with the next party, oh, like, that's real. Like, we wanted that.
And then how you going out looking for it? Enemy trick you so much when you going out looking for hell. So now you go to the next party like, oh, I hope I catch somebody in the back of the party doing the nasty. Like, what? You sick, twisted?
Or you want to be that person. Like,
I don't know who you talking about. Oh man, you gonna put my business out there like that? You know when son hit home and you can't play it off.
yeah,
Like when you sitting out there in
you
the
talking
congregation,
real
like-
loud in this mic, cuz like,
Oh
but
man.
yeah, your turn.
Right.
Oh man.
You thought
So
you was just going.
my parents, they wasn't on the same page when it came to God, you know. And my mom, she was the one that really made sure I had a relationship and I knew God. And the way that she did it for me, I love it. And I tell the story all the time because when I have kids, I'm going to do them the same way. We had to go to church every morning. Every Sunday morning, we was going to church. And at the time, we was in Middletown. So from Cincinnati to Middletown, that's about 40-minute drive. Every single Sunday morning, we know we got a 40-minute drive in the car. And we hope that sucker don't run hot. Because then we got to put the gallons of water.
Been there.
So every morning. And then Bible class and everything. She made us a 10. Even when we was too young to even understand and comprehend, she made us sit there. I don't care how bored you is. I don't care if you want to go home.
You better
gonna
act like you got some sense.
Act like you got some sense and sit there. So her whole thing was, you can do whatever you want to do when you're 18. And I don't even think she put a number on it like 18, but when you old enough to make your own decision whether you want to have a relationship with God or not, you can do whatever you want. But up until that age,
Yeah.
you in church. And not because I'm forcing you, but because I need you to make your decision on some real facts, not just on how you feel. Like, you can easily say, I don't want to do it because church too long. I don't want to be there. It's too long. So I don't want to have a relationship. But it's like when you are, you know, put in a position where you really have to know God and, you know, you there so long, by the time you get to that age, I remember her looking at me and asking me the question. And I was like, what? I've been sold out. Like, once you know so much, you can't even turn your back.
Right.
You can try to turn your back, but it feels so heavy on you because you know you're doing wrong. So when it got to the point where I had to make my own decision, I already made it. Like, this is where I'm at. This is what I'm doing. And I thank her for that because she could have been lazy. She could have got her own in. Like, I'm gonna go get my own salvation, and you know, you'll figure it out.
Yeah.
But now she led by example. And it wasn't until I got out of high school till I realized my salvation is my own. I didn't always know that. I thought, you know, I used to run, and I wasn't a bad kid, but I didn't seek God like I was supposed to. I knew him. You can't be connected in the family I'm in without knowing him. But I wasn't seeking a real relationship. It was like, you know, God was something I knew of. Like, and when I got put in a position where it was like, nah, this is your salvation, this is on you. And what clicked it for me, I was in college. And my mom was helping me with the financials and everything. And I figured out that all this was in my name. I got the first statement back. And it was like I owed like 10 grand. I'm like 18 years old. I owe $10,000. I don't got no $10,000. That's how I'm thinking. And when I put two and two together, I said, oh, this all in my name. So, and I was undecided. And that's when I came back home because I'm like, hey, man, I'm undecided college student. I don't know what I want to do in college. And I owe $10,000. I'm not about to keep spending money not to know what to do.
Right.
So when I figured out that debt was mine, I treated it different. When I figured out that salvation was mine, I treated it different.
That's
so
good.
when I had to go out there to really understand that, you know, God is with you and he been with you, but you got to choose him for you.
Right.
Understand that he gave you free will, but he didn't give you free will to not choose him. It's people use that free will like, you know, he gave us free will, we can do what we want. But sometimes what you won't send you to the wrong place. So it's like he gave you free will, but he wants you to choose him still. It's like us as humans. We all got free will, but nobody want a girl. No girl want a man that, you know, they got to force love me.
Right.
I want you to love me because you love me.
Right.
That feels, and that same feeling you get when somebody loves you on their own merit, that's the same feeling God get because you love. Right. So, yeah. So when I figured out salvation was your own, that's when I made that flip, and I still struggled because then it was like I had to let stuff go because I still was stuck in my ways and I still had stuff I like to do. I still was a kid, and I let society get in your head like do what kids do.
Right.
So it was like, you know, do the things that you a man. You a kid, and then you start becoming a man. So now you a man. So now it's like, hey, man got needs. Do what you got to do. And everything was pulling me farther. So now I'm knowing truth. I'm speaking truth. I'm walking tall, but, you know, I'm still a man.
Yeah.
So now, but people looking at that still a man part. Because now it's like, now they poking you and they picking. And they like, well, you so strong over here and you speak so elegant and so well and you have so much truth, but you still like doing this.
Yeah, you was over here with us.
Right. So it's like, I figured out that you lose your credibility.
Yep.
And it was so frustrating because I'd be out with my friends and I'd be trying to say something to them and they be like, you don't know, man, whatever, man. You was drunk with us.
And you know
like,
what? I think that's a struggle that most of us come to because even right now, right, as I really try to walk this path and walk upright, all my homies, they not saved. And all this time, you know, before I got married and stuff, where we hanging and we doing stuff, I'm not talking about no word. When we sit here and we having a smoke session, we not talking about how good
my
God
gosh,
is.
I was that guy. They stopped inviting me out. And when I got high, like when I used to smoke, I used to go to a whole different place. And it's like, I was the guy that went to the bathroom like, Lord, take this out of me right now. I don't know why I did it.
Right.
I don't know why I did it. Please take it out of me.
Hey, that's hilarious.
Right.
But I also was the
him.
one that was like, you know, got faded. And then I started really like, hey man, God is so good. Like, and I really went there. And I can tell, like, you know, it was like, bro, we not inviting this dude out no more. Cause it's like, cause I tried to be something I wasn't. I tried to be a follower and I was bad at it. Like, how you bad at following? You ever lead somebody and he's like follow me, and it's like you going like 40 miles per hour and they still can't follow you?
Yeah.
That was me. Like, you can't even follow the right way. I'm to be a follower. It was like, even in that, God was like, nah, you mine. You can't go that way. I ain't letting you. And even times where I like literally shunned, like, I'm good. Like, my friends over here, like, I'm gonna be home later. Like, God, I'm gonna be home later. Let me.
Yeah.
And it was bad because it was bad, but it was good. It was bad to the world, but it was good for my soul.
Right.
So, yeah.
That was good.
Yeah.
It was real good.
Thank you, Lord, because that's what was going on all the time that we was up and down, in and out, back and forth, hot and cold. I'm gonna be Holy Sunday. And it's funny because it took me so long just to be comfortable to say praise the Lord out loud in church. Like, when they be like, open up your mouth. Nah, I'm just gonna keep clapping.
But you know why? Because you was fake.
Yeah.
And you knew it. Like that, I used to really battle with that. And I'm like, why do I care about how I look?
Yeah.
One minute, it's one side where you do care about how you look. And then you got to lose that. But it's a whole other side where you care about how you look because you know people see you. And it's like, that's why people, when they go to church and like the pastor speaking or whatever, they say things like, are they judging you up in there? Pastor don't know what you did last night.
Right.
He don't even know your name.
Right.
You came and sat in the back.
That's called
But
conviction.
That's conviction, right? So it's like when you go in there though, we get that same thing as being believers. So it's like, but nobody know what we doing, what we own, but we know. So it was a time where, like you said, like, you know, took you a while to, you know, start saying praise the Lord out loud at church, because it's like, is this real?
Yeah.
Like, cause I know what I be on. I know what I was on last night before I walked up in here. Like, I'm still a little gone from last night. Like, and I'm in here talking about some praise the Lord. That's fake. And now you think that everybody else can see the fake on you. Some probably really can, but it's all you for real.
Yep.
And it's.
But he was consistently there all the while. When you was hot, when you was cold, when you was lukewarm, when you was back and forth,
right.
when you was in and out, when you was holy this day, but you was down with the homies this day, you was down to ride this day, you was trying to see what you could get off, you know, at the crib on this day, but then, oh man, I gotta go over here because my dad really want me to be at Bible study today, and they preaching today, like let me show up here, this,
right.
Like all that. Wow. God was consistent when we wasn't. Like just there. Like imagine yourself, because you don't have children, right?
No.
Okay. So just imagine being a parent. I got 4 of them. Another one on the way. But imagine yourself being a parent and following your child around the house, and they don't know you there. And you just following around the house while they get into this over here. Ooh. And they messing with this over here. And they know they shouldn't be touching the remote, but here they are touching the remote, and then they all of a sudden they act right and they playing with their toys over here, but then they leave their toys a mess and they know they're supposed to clean up, and you just following them the whole time. You never left them.
Wow.
You never was like, oh well, you tripping, so I'm like, you was there the whole time. And then when they discover that, let's see, finally they realize.
What you doing?
but I mean, being young, they're not thinking that. But just imagine they have this understanding that, wow, this whole time I ain't get slapped, kicked, punched. You ain't start yelling. You let me do all of this, but you also was always right here. So whatever I was doing, it never would have got too out of control, because you was always right here.
Man, to be kept. That patience is something crazy. And when you think about it, it's like, man, God got so much patience with us, and it makes you like, how dare I not have patience with people?
I don't
or
know
even
why
just yourself.
Oh, woo.
Even just with yourself.
That's the thing,
man.
How you got patience with yourself?
That's like, heavy. That is heavy. I don't even know why we still call him the God of a second chance. Cause shout out to you if you only on your second chance.
Okay.
Salute to you.
Right.
If you only on your second chance, boy, I don't even remember my second chance.
I can't.
Second.
I blew through my.
I ain't even gonna try to remember.
Man, listen here. I ain't gonna tell you where I think I'm at. Like,
couple multipliers. Like,
second chance.
What?
Second.
Not the laugh on your lapel.
Yeah.
I laugh on your lapel.
Like, second? You mean 20 years ago, second?
Oh my gosh.
Cause you on your second lifetime of chances at this point.
Man. AK, I got a question for you.
Let's hear it.
Why you here?
I'm here
Why you here? Like, why?
because I know that I have a purpose, and my purpose can only be fulfilled by reaching souls. And God gave me the purpose. And there's nothing I'm doing by myself, or nothing that I can do by myself, or I'm going to try to do by myself. I'm here, yes, to, be a human and create experiences, but it's an overall reason behind all of it, and it's to win souls. So it's like, now that I know that, I have no choice but to walk in that. I can't be like, well, I know I was supposed to do it, but, because, like, people waiting on me. People are waiting on us. Like,
I'm so glad you just.
You know how many
said
people are just waiting for us? And what type of child of God would I be to just, I don't know those people right now, or they don't know me. Forget about it. Like, who would I be? So that's why I'm here.
That's so heavy. I tell my kids all that. I tell people that. Period. You possibly have hundreds, thousands, possibly millions of people that are just simply waiting on, and they don't know they waiting on you. Simply waiting on you to do what you supposed to do. Like that. What you just said.
And the
was
more
a
we
gem.
wait and have them waiting, the more they suffer.
Yep. The more they suffer. And the thing is, and it's crazy you say that because God gave me revelation a long time ago, because the show's still going to go on. And just like God got a plan for your life, he got a plan for theirs. Mm-hmm. And, you know, even though God is patient with us, he ain't going to let you let them suffer. Mm-hmm. Not too long. Like he going to get them out and they going to do what they got to do. Or, you know, they going to redirect their focus because ain't no time for games.
Right.
Because we can't walk around like we got all the time in the world. Like you said, people are waiting on us. We have to do what we need to do to be there for the people we need to be there for.
Yeah.
It's like, man,
And at the
that's
same
why you
time,
said that. Like, that's deep.
That's how I try to live every day. Like, if I take a break now, if I stop now, that puts more pain on that person.
absolutely.
Or that keeps them in their suffering way much longer than what they have to be in.
Right. And I ain't gonna lie. Sometimes we gotta humble ourselves, like put all that ego to a side. But sometimes I'll be like, man, I wanna be the hero. Not over God, but like when you said people waiting on you. I don't want God to, you know, shift that person, somebody else go save them. That was my save.
I get what you're saying.
That was my save. Like, I was supposed to introduce you to him. Like, you ever meet somebody and like say
exactly
you connected. Say you connected to somebody like high up or whatever. And I'm like, Dom, I can get you connected. I got you. But I'm playing with the connection. Like I was supposed to Ben make the connection for you, but I'm playing with it. And then, you know, you meet somebody else that got the same connection. And they're like, yeah, I went through yada yada, met yada yada. I'm like, that was me. I was supposed to be that guy that showed you, like,
because it make you feel useless. Like,
Right.
You don't even need me no more.
Right.
Or would I ever get this chance again?
Right. I failed at this.
Right. So
And,
now it's
and,
like,
and the thing, the other thing I was gonna say, because you just sparked this thought when you were saying that God will use somebody else, but also at the same time, you know, that might have been one person. God is not going to leave you alone. It didn't matter what Moses kept trying. You know, I stutter. You know what I'm saying? You know, I ain't. No, I said you.
Right.
Maybe you didn't hear me. Maybe you didn't hear me.
people think they can shift their position. I think I'm better suited, you know.
Yeah, no, I said you. Didn't I just call you? I called your name twice. I'm talking to you.
Don't let it get
I
to the
saved you
third
on
time.
purpose.
Man, like, don't make me mad, and now I gotta speak to you out of the whirlwind and shake you up and ask you who was it that created the world.
I just heard Bishop say, don't wait for the trouble to come before you make your decision. Like, whose side are you on? Yeah. And so many times we say we're on the lower side, but we don't make that switch until we in trouble. And then we want to say, God put us in this trouble so I can see him. Like,
No. He don't want us to go through that.
for real?
Man.
He put you in that trouble so
Right.
you can see him? Like, that's the best you came up with? We wait till we in trouble and we get bailed out, and then it's like, God did it. God did it. Like, no, he told you, them signs that said dead end, you was reading them for 30 miles, said dead end, and you just kept driving. La, la, la,
I love
la.
that because when Bishop get in that vein, he talks about how we should transition from operating in mercy to grace. Like, thank God that, you know, his mercy caused me to be able to get out of this situation, and his mercy saved me from this situation. But at some point, you should start operating in grace. Not he had to save you because of your stubbornness or because of what you gonna do,
right.
but because he empowered you to just go ahead and do what you were supposed to do. Like, gotta make that transition.
Yeah.
That's good. Man. Dom, all right. We had these conversations a lot, like, you know, one-on-one, but I gotta ask you, why you here?
Specify that question for me.
Okay. Out of everything that you can be doing to fulfill your purpose, to do the things that you know you have to be doing on this earth, Why are you using everything that God has given you to be on this podcast, you know, with us?
Well, number one, because the person that called me to do this, was somebody who God has revealed to me is somebody who I'm going to forever be connected to in kingdom work. And that us together, I'm not excluding
I know,
you.
I get it. I understand.
Okay.
I understand. It's cool.
Thank God that you do.
Right.
Because I love you too.
But let's move on.
But there are things that specifically the two of us are called to do. And we're forever bonded. And we can't get away from each other because it's too much work to be done. So number one, when you called me, because it's a few people that could have called me, and I would have thought about it. But when you called me and said, "Cuz, I need you," let's go. I need to suit up right now. That's first and foremost. But secondly, you know me. You're getting to know me. My purpose involves my mouthpiece. Period. I am not, and I'm not saying this to downplay myself. I married somebody who is incredibly, insanely creative. I mean, this woman can make something out of nothing. Like, that's her vein. That's her flow. She is the do-it-yourself queen. The way her mind works so differently from mine to create stuff, create a product, and be able to put all. That's not my thing. So, I'm not. That's. I know that. But what is my thing is speaking, talking. And it's something that now I pay attention to. When I speak to people and I notice their attentiveness, whoever it is. Or when I speak to people and I notice them allow me to have the floor. Because you got people who will talk and they'll get cut off a lot and get talked over a lot. And these are just things that I pay attention to. And I used to use this phrase where I would say I pride myself on things, but we know what pride come before.
Right.
So I had to stop playing with that.
Yeah. And I don't like falling too much. You know, as a big man, falling ain't fun.
6'5". First of all, it's a slow fall. First of all, it's a slow fall.
Slow and painful. How's this?
It's a heavy fall. Bruh, I fall
I think I was
like
watching
once
the
a
Fat
year.
Armor
You hear
movie.
me?
Hey, everybody, the Fat Armor. He said the falling the easy part. It's the getting up.
Man, listen here.
It's the getting up. That's the.
It's the checking to see who saw you fall. Then you got the pain don't come right away.
Ooh.
It be later. Like, remember when you fell and you landed on your tibia? Like,
that tomorrow morning wake up.
man, listen here.
Like, why am I limping?
We was at the
Inside of you, it's like grandmama's greens. So don't give up. Your time is coming.